Hi, and welcome to Principal Shorts, the podcast for principals who only have 7.5 minutes for lunch and no time to eat it before 2 p.m. I'm Stan Baker, one of your co-hosts, along with Shelley Steele. We're retired educators who worked with restorative practices in school boards in Ontario, and now we're working with principals and staffs in school boards. This podcast is designed to address a principal problem of practice and then provide one or two suggestions to make your day a little bit easier. Here's Paula, our AI voice, to tell you a little bit about what we do.
Hi, I'm Paula. Restorative Resolutions helps principals and teachers navigate difficult conversations with parents, makes things right, and makes it all about student learning.
And that's today's principal problem of practice. Let's listen to what our guest, Shauna Streich, Case Manager Disability Benefits Plan, the Manitoba Teachers Society, says about how to level the hierarchy that exists in schools, with principals being the higher ups.
One of the most interesting things that we've come across in talking with people is this hierarchy that exists in education. And it maybe in the medical field we see this, but I don't come from the education field. I have worked with educators now for 10 years, but it is something, this teacher's code of conduct and how we speak to each other, right? It goes through teacher, it goes through principal, it doesn't exist to the same effect. So we have this, without principals doing one thing, they're already perceived as higher, they're perceived as spies. They get all these labels unfairly to a certain degree based on this hierarchy that exists in education. So despite all their efforts, you'll hear them say, I have an open door policy. I want people to tell me what's going on. You talk to the teachers, they're like, hey, I'm on a term. There is no way that I am going to tell anybody that I need help, show weakness, or that I'm not happy with something. And so therein lies just something that exists of nobody's doing. And so the principals, you want to talk about principals' mental health. How frustrating is that? You don't have to do anything and you're behind the 8 ball with helping people. That's really hard. So what we talk about, and when we try to talk about this at a school level, is how do we chip away at this perceived hierarchy? And I probably shouldn't even use the word perceived. It exists.
That's right.
It exists. For me, it's what? Like, why? So maybe for me, it's perceived, but it's real for people. And so when we talk about good relation, we want to see that people can come in and say, I'm struggling. And that we don't have principals saying, prove it. We often, really, are you really sick? Or are you just, we get this, sometimes that can happen where people have to prove that they're not doing well or prove that they're not feeling well. So that's one of the things. People shouldn't have to prove it, just accept it. And then the next question is, what can I do to help? Because ultimately we know that keeping people at work is the healthiest thing for them. And we know with a shortage of subs across the country, we need to keep our teachers at work right now. Sometimes people need to go off. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that there's never a situation where people go off work, but sometimes we just need to make little modifications to help a teacher stay at work. Are they checking in with the person? Sometimes things get so busy that we lose track of that person, right? Little things make a big difference for people. Acknowledging, hey, you were in my office the other day. How are you doing today? Are things going better? Little things like that. You notice me, right? So that's what we see with good relationships. This kind of accountability by the teacher, but also accountability by the principal. Do I follow up on what I say I'm going to follow up on? If I say I'm going to come back and talk to you, do I come back and talk to you? Or do I not hear from you for 2, 3, 4 weeks? And again, I don't want this to be punitive, principal's bad. It's just about little things that we notice that make a big difference, especially for young teachers that are feeling really apprehensive and new and maybe a little bit scared. And all of those things play a role in when teachers go off work and why they go off work.
Just asking the question, what can I do to help? So as you said, maybe it's, I really can't be asked to be on any more committees right now.
Yes.
It could be as simple as that, rather than it thinking that I need to go off work. But just by asking that question, and that's a very restorative question to be asking people. What can I do to help to be able to keep you doing what you want to do?
And in restorative work, one of the things that we don't usually ask, and we try to tell people not to ask, is the why question. So if somebody's been off and their first question is, why were you off? That's a different question than tell me what's been happening, which is a non-judgmental question. It's just a curiosity question. And it's difficult sometimes to have conversations, but we always say in restorative, don't ask why.
And to add to that, when you say, how can I help? And then you actually help.
Yes.
That's how we build trust, right?
That's right.
That you and I are on the same level, is because you're not just saying it, you want to actually. And so suddenly then my guard goes down, and maybe now I'm not as scared next time to come to you and tell you what's going on.
As a principal, you know that there's a hierarchy that can prevent teachers, especially new teachers, from talking with you about a problem or concern. So here's practice number 1. Be intentional about small gestures like checking in and with following up, especially with new teachers. Practice number 2, make it a practice to ask questions like, what can I do to help? And then help.
It's Paula again. Teachers may hide struggles, fearing judgment or appearing weak. These small gestures build the trust needed to keep teachers healthy and at work.
Curious about the how-to of breaking down the hierarchy of the principalship? So let's have a conversation. Send me an email to stan@restorative.ca. And finally, don't skip your lunch today. You deserve that 7.5 minutes.